Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams, president and founder of the creditrepairshop.com. And in today's video, yes, I'm making a video on my birthday. I played a good round of golf from my friend Tommy. Came in from Mississippi. One of our golf buddies had passed away last week, and then he drove up from Mississippi. He had moved down there years ago, and we hadn't gotten a chance to connect back together to play around the golf, but he came up for the funeral and then we were playing golf. And Gail, who passed away, he was our golfing buddy also. He lived a long life. He was 95 years old. And believe it or not, he was still playing golf at that age. I mean, so if you want to live long, you play golf, right? Walking around, getting exercise. Well, in today's video, we're going to talk about some conversations that I've had with individuals. And I wasn't even going to make a video today, but what prompted me to make it is I have uh, three individual situations right here in front of me, and it's like people are at different times in their life. Some people are struggling with debt, but they're at at the beginning phase. I have over here lost people who are actually being sued by third party debt collectors, people who are actually getting sued by original creditors. And then I have a pile here of people who are on I guess you could say, the upswing or the downhill phase because settlement. Like we have a settlement that we just finished out for $59,000 and settled out for $20,000. So it's just like I'm looking at this, looking at my work here, and there's just people in different situations. So we know that if you're being sued by a debt collector, you have rights to challenge all of the documents that they put in their court summons. The allegations, you have a right to challenge those, and you have a right to put together an affirmative defense against the debt collection company. And what I think is what makes my services valuable, more valuable than what other software that's out there. There's AI softwares, there's different software companies that offer you, uh, help you challenge or help you write your affirmative defense for a debt collection court summons. And what makes our company different is that it's not just about uh, responding to a court summons, it's the way you say it. Like there's the way, literally the way you say words. And I'll kind of give you an analogy that so you can kind of get a better, clearer understanding of what I'm saying is that you can read the words to you can you can see the song and read it, and then you can have someone sing that song, and then you can have another person sing that song that's better than the person who was singing it the first time, and people are gonna react different when you're responding to a court summons. In a way, the way that you write those words in your defense will get the point across and have a judge who is reading it, have a debt collection lawyer who is reading it, and they can say, or the original creditor who is reading it, and they can look at that and they can say, they could take it a different way. And what I mean by taking it a different way is where they're like, this is something that is going to be challenging for us when we get to court with a judge. It could either be documents, it could be either be the way that the loan was written, it could either be interest rate issues, it could either be payment issues, it could be discussions that you had with the original creditor and they sent paperwork saying that they're going to resolve it internally and they never resolved it, and then they ended up sending it to collections, not selling it. Maybe they just sent it to a debt collector to sue you for the debt. But the way that you respond to that, the words that you use, that when you respond to it, can make them uh, take it more seriously and consider either dismissing or approaching you about a settlement. And I'm not talking about using laws. I'm talking about using their own documents against them and then adding in the different uh, items that they're supposed to provide either as a debt collector or as an original creditor to a court summons. So that's if you're getting sued by a debt by original creditor or a debt collector. Now, if you're getting sued by the original creditor, remember in my video where I talked about the Supreme Court, uh, they not a unanimous. Well, I guess what is it? Unanimous. Uh, uh, the decision was not unanimous. All the Supreme Court justices did not vote yes for it, but it passed. And what it was that it said that if a debt collector buys a debt, they assume the position of original creditor, and so they're not under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, so to speak, uh, because they own the debt. Now, if they're in the business of collecting debt as a debt collector for debt that they don't own, they're under the FDCPA, Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. But when when I was working with a court summons the other day, and I was reviewing, that decision by the Supreme Court, it, and I mentioned this in another video, but it opens up another door they think they're closing the door on you and they're opening up another door. Let me tell you how they open up a door that's like really, when I think about it, it was a crazy door that they opened up. They flung this door open. The door that they flung open was that when a debt collector is hired by the original creditor to collect your debt, or a portfolio company hires a debt collector to collect on your debt, they have to abide by the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. But let me tell you where it's even more crazy is that when an attorney sues you in court, a lot of people don't know this, they cannot just carry over documents and say that all of them are true. But they get away with it because people don't challenge them. So if they're bringing in documents from the original creditor and they're saying the original creditor said, hey, you owe $15,000 on that debt. Did you know that the lawyer has to follow back up with that original creditor and say, you need to prove to me, because I have to sign as an officer of the court. I have to sign saying that this $15,000 that you claim they owe is 100% true. And I can't just walk in there off of your word. I have to walk in there off of documentation to prove this claimed amount. So if you're being sued by a debt collector who is working for an original creditor, yes, you can make them go through the same process that a debt collector would go through for a debt collection lawsuit. Isn't that crazy? And this is the thing, from the cases that we've been involved in, there have been where the original creditor just didn't get the documents to the debt collector or the debt collection lawyer that was handling the case, and they just dismissed it. They were like this: the original creditor just isn't responding in the appropriate amount of time. Also, we found that the original creditor said, hey, we want to go ahead and move to settlement. Can we do something about this without having to go to court? That they would start to react that way. Now, that's not necessarily because of the Supreme Court decision, but what it has done is that it's like alerted uh, and made debt collectors who are in the business of collecting debt that they don't own. It has made them more aware that they have to follow those rules. And if you are writing your response and your response has that wording and it's put in there the right way, to where they understand that they are required, even though they're collecting it for another, for their client, they are required to follow the FDCPA because they are a third party debt collector who does not own the debt, who is in the business of collecting debt for another. That's actually wrote in that Supreme Court decision. Now, let's talk a little bit about if you are at the beginning phase of a collapse of your finances. Like you are about to collapse, you are paying your minimum payments, and you just feel that, hey, I just can't make it anymore. There are a lot of people that are watching my videos and they are in that situation. And I think that we get such a huge response to my videos that talk about this is because they know that I'm real. Like this is something that my wife and I experienced. And I tell people that you have to like get real about your situation. So let's walk through the different scenarios. So you are making your minimum payments, but it is tough. You are barely able to make it, or you're not making it, and but you're paying all of your bills, but you're suffering household wise. Like you short on groceries, short on gas. Like it's tough. You're maybe even paying those extra expenses with a credit card. So you have a decision to make, and the decision is going to be this is what runs through most people's head. Either they're going to try to think about filing bankruptcy, and if you do file bankruptcy, I mean, if you file a Chapter 13, you're going to be in a Chapter 7. So when you seek legal advice, you need to push for a Chapter 7 because 13 is just, you're going to be out of a 13 in a year unless you're lucky. Uh, but so you're in this scenario, you're thinking about bankruptcy, you're thinking about not paying your debt and just letting it go. You're thinking about trying to do settlements. All of this stuff is just going through your mind, and you're like, how can I work my way out of this? So, step one, if you are making your minimum payments, you should seek to get deferments on all of your payments on everything that you can get so you can build up a pile of cash. And at the end of that deferment period, and you need to do this where you get all your consumer debt deferred so you can have a way to save a good amount of money so you can get to that end of that deferment. And then you got to make another decision. Can you pay on your debt with the money that you've saved? Can you reorganize yourself and be able to take care of your debt? If you cannot reorganize and be able to take care of your debt, then the next decision that's going to be made is are you going to let everything go that like your credit card debt and all of that stuff, keep paying maybe keep paying your student loans, you got to pay those, and your car payment and your mortgage and your rent, but all of that other stuff you just let go. And when you let it go, they're going to bombard you with calls. They're going to blow your phone up because until it's charged off, there is no one you can run to. An attorney, me, no one, because they have a right to continue calling you until that debt is charged off. Once the debt is charged off, then you can come to a company like mine. We do a power of attorney, stop the calls coming to you, but you still have to be of the mindset to start saving money because it's not going to do any good to come to someone like me thinking that the debt is just going to go away. Yes, sometimes debt collectors can do a 1099-C, or debt original creditors can do a 1099-C, but that's on them to do that. And when you come to my company, we give them that information of your hardship and they can make that determination, but there's no guarantee on it. And a lot of companies are just, they're going to make you give them information about if you're going to be able to pay this debt. And so you stop paying everything, you go through hell for 6 months because they can call you every day because they're not considered a debt collector. They're not under the FDCPA. They're not under the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act. They are the original creditor. And so they can call you, they can blow your phone up, they can call your neighbors, they can try to hunt you down, do all types of stuff. Once it charges off, it's a new ball game, but your credit is ruined. You cannot stop paying your payments and not ruin your credit. Some people, when they talk to me, they think that if they do debt settlement, they're going to be able to save their credit. No, you will be able to rebound on your credit, but your credit is going to be ruined. So you stop paying your payments after your deferment, and that's because you were not going to be able to get yourself in order during the deferment. Like it's just too far gone. The payments are too much. Income doesn't match. Something is not workable. Options that are available on the table, even when you had your deferment and then your payments get started back up, you can tell your creditor, I still cannot make that payment. Can we change my payment to this amount for a certain amount of months? So if you're paying $300 on the credit card, tell them you can pay 100. If you can pay 100, but you have to be able to pay the 100. And the only way you're going to know that is by adding up all of the different payments that you would have, and then you come to them with a plan and say, yes, I can pay you 100. If it's not going to work, then you're going to go full blast into charge off. Once it's charged off, you can do a cease and desist, and then they're going to decide if they're going to sue you. If you do a cease and desist communications without having someone that's going to talk on your behalf, they will eventually come to sue you. If you do a cease and desist and you have a company like mine standing in the middle, then potentially you can hold off the lawsuit because it's going to be back and forth about what you're going through and keeping communications open and letting them know that plan is being worked on to take care of that debt. Not to say that they won't try to sue you, but if they do try to sue you, we do have a service that can also help you out with that. But that's where you're going to be at. So you went from deferments to potentially being able to continue with your payments after the deferment, not being able to pay your payments after the deferment, 6 months of no payments, then they're going to go into a charge off period. And then if you save money during that period of time, once it's charged off, they could be approached about settling those debts. Most clients that I work with are not able to settle all debts at one time. That's just the way it is. And then the crazy thing about it is even the clients who make good money tend to have more debt. So the clients who have less money have lower debt per se to settle, but it's just as hard for them as it's hard for an individual who makes good income, and they seem to have more debt. So their credit card debt is higher than the people who earn less money and their credit card debt is lower. But the problem is the same because that person has, if that person has to spend, they have a credit card and they have to spend $1,000 to settle, that's a lot of money to them. And then but to the other person who might make, $20,000 a month, yeah, $1,000 is not a lot to them, but they don't have $1,000 or $2,000 credit cards. They have 25 and $30,000 balance credit cards. So the problem is the same, it's just at a different money level. But that would be the solution. Now, if you work with a debt settlement company, debt relief company, whatever they want to call themselves, they're going to say, stop paying us and stop paying them and start paying us and save part of the money. So if your payments were $3,000 a month, they're going to say, send us $1,500 a month. And they're hoping that with that money, it'll stack up and they'll be able to start. That's the way that whole program works. Is that they stack up and then they're gonna with that money. Remember though, they have a fee, a 20 to 25% fee on top of what they settle your debt for. So you need to make sure you read all of the disclosures, all of the fees and everything. With our company, we do charge a fee. It's based off of the amount of the debt. But we don't require that people pay us the money, but we do require that you prove that you have the funds available when the settlement is secure, because we don't want to ruin our reputation over individual or not coming through when a settlement agreed upon. So also, I'm starting to see a lot of people that are coming to us who had started up businesses and they took out business loans and are not able to pay those business loans. We're starting to see a lot of that right now. So let me give you a word of warning. When you get a business loan and you still had that business account, maybe you had that business account as a business account in personal, or maybe you're now using that business account as a personal account because you had a sole proprietorship or a partnership, they will be able to raid that account. So you need to make sure that you keep your personal separate from your business. But if you personally guarantee that business debt, they will be able to go into a personal account for the money. I know that is crazy, and it is actually easier for a company to get a business judgment and then go and garnish your bank account directly. Let me tell you the reason why. And one of the things that makes it difficult in some states and with dealing with some of the original creditors is that they might require that only an attorney can speak on your behalf in court on a business debt, and that raises your expense. That could make it even easier for you to lose. Now you can represent yourself, but and then once I think California said that they're not even allowed to represent themselves on a business court case. So it makes it very difficult to be able to deal with these types of cases, and that's why a company like ours, it is a huge benefit if the lawyer that is hired for the original creditor, that someone gets in the middle and start negotiating on your behalf and start letting them know what's going on. Not to say that the court case won't proceed, but you will at least have the opportunity to try to put together some type of settlement agreement. Um, so, and then also keep in mind, it's not just about the money. It's not just about the money. A lot of people get confused and they think that, it's all just about I got to increase my income, I got to, cut my expenses. A lot of another piece of this, another aspect of this is the emotional side about how you're feeling about yourself, how you're feeling about what you're going through. This is a lot of people uh, go through depression over having debt. So if you're struggling financially, if you were going through any of these similar situations, you have to, keep your emotions in check because this stuff can overrun you. It can make you feel sick. It can make you get in arguments, uh, all types of stuff. So you got to make sure that you think about how your emotions can kind of drift with the issues that you're going through, and that goes for credit and for debt, because uh, that's just the way it is. All right, if you need help with your credit, please make sure you visit our website, thecreditrepairshop.com. Watch the video, What Makes Us Different, so you can see my 8-point validation process, my two-phase settlement process. If you need your credit reports and scores, go to the website, your3scores.com. Grab your TransUnion, Equifax, Experian credit reports, and all three scores. If you have debt collectors coming after you, grab my 3-pack of letters, statute of limitations, cease and desist collection activities letter, and debt validation letter. You can use any of those letters to stop debt collectors early. Statute of limitations letter, you do not need to do a debt validation when a debt is past legal statute of limitations to collect. And yes, there are debt collectors that are still attempting to collect debt that is past the legal statute of limitations to collect. Thank you for your time. Please subscribe to the channel, post your questions and comments, and like this video. This is Stephen A. Williams, President and founder of thecreditrepairshop.com.